Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Hidden Agenda. We got a special guest with us, Mark James. Mark's running for commissioner in District 1. For you guys who don't know about where District 1 is, it kind of covers Wildersville, Rock Springs, all the way out to the Barberton area. I think the line cuts off somewhere down there. What, Union Cross, Franklin Store Road? Does that sound about right? I believe that's where it's
Holmes
at.
Road, I do believe.
Okay. But yeah, that's Mark's up here. He's running in that district, and right now the current commissioners are Jeff James and Junior Carter up there. So Mark's as a challenger in this race here. And didn't you run the last election independent?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I thought you did. So anyway, we're going to ask Mark some questions that we've gotten from people. We're going to probably make this pretty quick because Mark said he's ready to go, and we'll get on into this here, and then of course at the end we'll give him a few seconds to say his piece. See if he can't convince you to vote for him. Alrighty, what are the top three issues you see in Henderson County government?
Sales tax. If we ain't got the money, we don't charge stuff. We don't buy stuff. That's one of the number one reasons. And every time they want to give everybody raises that we don't have, then it costs all the rest of the taxpayers that work for themselves or work for other industries money. That's the number one thing that I see. And I don't know, me being a carpenter too, I work on a lot of houses in this county. I worked a lot of houses in Madison County and Chester County and different counties. And me living in Henderson County, I see a lot of things that can improve on building houses and just in general making sure they're correct when they're built by the state codes. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Being a carpenter, I get to see all the things that people do, and I know that everyone has a DIY concept, but it still needs to be checked. I'm not talking about somebody building a shed. I'm talking about someone building a house and then turning around and sell it to someone, and the people that were buying it have no idea what's wrong with that house. Those are my two pet peeves. And the roads. But everybody's got a problem with the roads.
Yeah. We'll call that number 3 there. Yeah. I don't think anybody will argue with you on that one. And and now that you touch base on, I'm going to go ahead and skip in because there was a building inspection program that came about. I think it was last year, right at the tail end, maybe in the tail end of 24, that failed to pass the commission. And we're hearing that conversation come up again. It was actually brought up last Tuesday night. what are your thoughts on the building inspection permit program? And let me interject something before you answer that there, because you just made a comment about something that I like, if people building sheds. That wasn't, I know that they weren't including that there, but I think anything over 30 square feet. One of the problems that I tried to get information on back then was what's show me the workings. Give me a plan. Show me what the plan is.
Well, I haven't built in Madison County in a long time. I used to work for a contractor, and I was the sub. So I don't know how the rules have changed in the last 5 or 6 years, because honestly, I haven't went out of Henderson County since 2019, 2020. My daughter was born in 2019, and I do a lot of staying at home now, and my working days are about to get wrapped up. But I do believe in Madison County it was 12 by 12, 144 square foot.
Okay.
More than that, you needed to have an inspection. But like I said, it's been a while. Could be wrong now. I had some people point this out last night or yesterday at church, talking about zoning. I'm not really for zoning per se. I'm more worried about when a person buys a house and they have the concept that, hey, this house is going to last 20 or 30 years before I have to do any repairs on it. And it's not. There's no inspections in this county. No one other than electrical inspector. There's no plumbing inspector, and I have seen some doozies on the plumbing, and people have pointed out things on plumbing. Now, Chester County, I still do. One of the contractors I used to work for, I still talk to him quite a bit, and I've done some work for him because he's pretty much retired now. He lives in Chester County, and Chester County has changed their rules now. I think it was 3 years ago, they implemented a building inspector in the county, which Chester County used to be a free-for-all too. There's a plumber that I know of who's from this county, who mainly does things in Madison County now, and I never thought about it this way, but he told me that Henderson County is like the Wild Wild West. And after he told me that, I thought about it, and he's right. Anything goes. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to say I'm not saying a shed or your little shop, but when someone goes to pay $200,000 to $300,000 for a loan, and they have to make that payment for the next 20 or 30 years, whatever mortgage they have, they need to know that that house is going to last them that long. I'm not saying putting any new regulations or new codes in. Just go by the state codes. And anybody that lives in this county who knows some of the builders in this county, and I'm not saying any names, but just a footing. There was a contractor here that was not putting any rebar. I know for a fact because I've seen it in their footing. And if you don't have the footing right, the house is not going to be right. And like I said, I could beat a dead horse all day long talking about different types of things I've seen on houses in this county. It frustrates me, and a lot of people have asked me about working on their house, and I guess I'm getting older now, and I don't want to work on anybody's house and then my name associated with that house, because later on they're going to say Mark James worked on that house. So I'm more selective on whose houses I work on now. Where when I was 20, I worked on anything and everything just to get a job. I started working for myself in 2004. I started in construction in 96 after I got out of high school. And I worked for a contractor from 96 to the fall of 2004. And since 2004, other than 2008, 2009, when times got rough, I've worked for myself. Now, I've done some subbing for another contractor in 2008, 2009, but I did that because there wasn't any work. The economy was bad, and I did whatever I could to pay the bills. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten more selective.
Understand. And that's, it's 12 by 12, I could see that's kind of like a house addition. I could understand that. That there, I'm more worried about if somebody wants to put a stoop on the front of their house. You know, let's say somebody's got a mobile home and they want to put a set of steps and band it back to the house. You know, if that's the case, I mean, to get a permit on something like that there, you know, I start questioning that there a little bit. Because, you know, some basic knowledge can get you a set of, you know, a little stoop and a set of steps built.
Well, I tell you what, talking about steps, insurance will not insure when you go with a mortgage on a house. If you don't have a set of steps on that building or that structure on the back, it could have it on the front porch, and then maybe you have a back porch and doesn't have the steps. The insurance company is not going to give you any insurance.
Right.
So,
and then you also got to look at railings as well.
Yes, railings.
Yeah, especially when you get up to a certain height.
And I have seen some railings in this county. And that's what I really do a lot of is finish carpentry. I can do framing, and I'm doing some framing right now, but I can't keep any help. Everybody wants $20 and $30 an hour. But finish carpentry is what I do the most and what I can do by myself. And in Madison County, the inspector walks around with a baseball. If that baseball can pass between two spindles, it doesn't pass. Can't have it, because you don't want a little kid sticking their head between two spindles.
Right.
And in this county, I have seen some staircases in this county where the railings were big enough that I could fall through them.
Understood.
You know, it's just another case of state code, not county code, state code.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Property taxes. What are your thoughts on raising property taxes?
No. What the number one thing is, we need to reduce our spending. Quit spending. If we ain't got it, we don't spend it. That's common sense. When I don't have the money, I don't spend it. When I want a new tool for my job or something else I won't need at the house, I don't. I tell you what, up till 6 months ago, I didn't have a credit card. Because when I was younger, I had a credit card, and I run it up, and I figured out real quick I didn't need it. So I got rid of them. And about 6 months ago, I got a credit card just to have a credit card, and it's a Home Depot card. It isn't anything else. And it's just the good tools and lumber and stuff when I ain't got the money on me. But it goes back. You know, if you ain't got the money, don't spend it. And they want to tell you about this grants. Nobody wants to tell you. Grants are taxpayers' money. When they come, oh, we're going to get a grant. Oh, they're saying, oh, you're so good, we're going to take your money and give it to you and make it feel like you're getting something out of something that you gave them.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they don't want to go in there and be completely transparent and talk about the matches for the grants a lot of times.
That, and there's always stipulations on a grant.
That's it. That is it.
You cannot, I don't know if anybody's like me, I am super conservative. The government doesn't give you anything free. When they give you something, there's always strings attached. That's why you don't take money from the government.
Ain't that the truth? Alrighty, since you're talking about buildings, here's another question that kind of falls right in line there. The lack of preventive maintenance on county-owned buildings and our aging infrastructure. How do you see as a way that as a commissioner, that you can help address that issue?
My way, or the correct way, or their way? When you don't maintenance a house, I'm going to tell you right now, I hear people tell me all the time, this is just in residential. When people get a vinyl siding house, because I'm not a big vinyl siding guy, I'm a carpenter, and used to, the finished carpenter done the cornice work on the outside of the home. The framer framed the house, the finished carpenter did the cornice work out of wood. You painted it. And that's the way my house is, and that's just about what every house I've ever worked on is. People want to get these vinyl siding houses and say, oh, they're maintenance free. There's no such thing as maintenance free. I don't care what they tell you. You get a vinyl siding house in 5 years, you're going to have to work on it. Same way with these county buildings. You've got to work on them constantly. I don't care how good they're built. You got to work on them constantly. You can't wait 20 years down the road, because when you wait 20 years down the road, what was something small has turned out to be big.
And that costs a lot of money.
And it costs a lot of money when you do it that way. Look, I know. I've remodeled houses, and I don't know how many times I've remodeled houses, and I've told people, I said, how long has this been doing? Oh, several years. I said, well, why didn't you do it then? It wouldn't have cost you as much to do it then as it is going to cost you now. It's the same way on these houses and buildings and that the county owns.
Yeah, you're right, and we've seen such. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
It gets to the point of dilapidation.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Y'all can get mad at me, cuss me. I don't care. Everybody's got an opinion, and I'm probably gonna step on some toes, and a whole bunch of people are gonna cuss me. But there's a whole bunch of county schools, buildings in this county that need to be worked on other than getting a football field. I played football in high school. I love football. But the county buildings, the kids, I tell you right now, my daughter over at Beaver, last year when it was raining, I went inside the building and they had buckets. Now, I guess they had the bucket patrol. I don't know what you want to call it. Putting them out trying to collect water because the roof was leaking. Wouldn't it make more sense to fix that and build a football field, stadium? But that's just me.
You ain't got no argument for me there. I mean, I think it's a matter of priorities.
Yes.
And I don't think we had to do a good job at prioritizing things.
Would you rather paint your car or put new tires on it?
Yeah. Yeah, that paint job looked good when your tires flat.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but that's the way I see it.
Well, that's it. That's what you should do is speak with your mind, because that's what people want to hear. They want to know where you stand on the issues. All righty. Well, you kind of hit a lot of the things that I was going to go back in. You kind of hit the questions with the elaboration. Meetings, county meetings. Now I've got this question that's been asked of me since a couple of weeks ago when we did a couple of podcasts. I've had a couple of people ask me this question here. How many meetings have you been to? County meetings?
Probably 5 total, 6 total.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you the reason why. And I know I've been to different meetings, and I like to voice my opinion. And probably the people that are watching this know what I'm talking about. I like to voice my opinion, and last time I did that, they wanted to haul me out. They said they're going to call the sheriff's department on me. And
I remember that.
And I don't want to go to jail. And my wife says I got a temper. I try not to have a temper. I try my best. But when someone's screwing me, saying they're going to change the way my property is, there's something going on. And I want to know what it is. And because they wouldn't tell me what it was, I kept asking, and they said they're going to call the sheriff's department on me. I said, I tried to stay away because I just don't want to go to jail. I got a little girl.
No, I don't thought you none of that there. I remember when that issue happened. I think I went to the next meeting.
Yeah, and they changed. They didn't have that attitude like they were going to take me to jail that time.
No, sugar would have melted off of them.
Mm-hmm. They were nice.
That's,
and those same people are probably right now doing it because they know that I've decided to run, doing whatever they can to make sure that I don't succeed.
Well, that happens around here quite often.
I'm not in the good old boy system.
Well, that's one strike against you in their camp.
Yep.
That's just the truth of the matter.
Now, I want to get back on the zoning.
Yeah, I'd like to too, because we really didn't touch that in depth on that.
I'm not. I know there's difference. Like there's a commercial area and there's residential area and industrial area, and you don't want those intermingling because of the way. Well, I think this is just my opinion. I think some of the people think, hey, if residential moves here, they won't be able to make more. The county won't be able to make more money because, hey, we can sell this for industrial or commercial. But I hate to tell somebody what they can and can't build. Now I understand if it's built shoddy, it needs to be checked. But if it's built good, I mean, why would you bother somebody? Now I had someone I didn't get into it. Someone at church yesterday, which surprised me the way they vote, asked me about it, and it just blew my mind. And I told him, I said, I'm not really into the zoning and telling somebody how or what they can build in a certain area. I'm more worried about just that it's built right.
And that, again, zoning came back up the other day, and a couple things that kind of come in there. One I'm going to believe is probably geared towards blight, because what was really talked about in there was how it impacts somebody else's property value. Um, and I understand that conversation, but what they were talking about, like you're saying, uh, a strip club could come build next door to me, or a Dollar General can come build next door to me. And I'm going to say right now, why on earth would anybody who's building a business that's looking for high traffic count would build next door in the residential section? I mean, inside of residential section, it's not going to happen. Are they going to build out in the county? Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Dollar General stores we got, they're on main highways. Nobody's going to go down Wildesville Road or Rock Springs Road and pop up a Dollar General. Certainly not going to pop up a strip club. I mean, it's we have to use some logic in that common sense in understanding how that operates. And I think that's one of the things that we've seen quite a bit with zoning in the conversation. People are the scare tactics.
Well, I'll tell you right now, where I'm working at, I'm not going to say where I am because everyone and their brother and sister come down there and see where I am. But the property where I am across the road has been auctioned off. It was a big farm. And now the people next door are the ones that used to own it. Well, their parents or grandparents used to own it. And it was auctioned off. And now it's been split up and subdivided and everything else. And trailers and shop houses, I call them shop houses, I know there's different terms for them, are coming in. And I know people are disgusted about that. And what can you do? You can zone and say you can't build that there, but then you got to look. I can see that, but then you got to look the other way and say, hey, maybe this is all they can afford. At least they're, I don't know what to say.
And that's
some people can't afford things other people at. And then I'm gonna tell you right now, me doing construction, there's a whole bunch of $300,000-$400,000 houses that people can't afford, but they can go get a loan on it, and they'll pay on it for the rest of their life. They will never own it. So I see it both ways.
Yeah, I can see it both ways as well. It's I understand that there, but it's one of these things here that I guess where I'm kind of bugged by that is, if we allow one person to do it, but not, we hold somebody else accountable to it. That's one of the concerns that I have. Plus, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Next thing you know, they'll have all kind of zoning. It's just, to me, it's kind of an overreach. And you said it best. I mean, over there in the neighborhood where I'm at, there are people that that live in. I know somebody brought up about a shed on skids. I don't know if they're on skids. I think they're on blocks. But I'm sure there's skids up under it. There were sheds that were converted into houses. And they brought up about the IBC and the minimum square footage. To me, if somebody's just not in a financial position where they can afford a house, and housing right now is through the roof. It's been through the roof post-COVID. I don't have a problem with somebody, if all they can afford is a tiny home, or have something that's small enough for them to live in, because that's all they can afford. I don't have a problem with that. I would sooner them being in a house than being on the street that, again, at some point in time frame, where do we have to take care of them at that point, and what kind of life is that there when they could have something small and move through with it and be okay. And that's one of my concerns with zoning. But I'm capitalizing on your time here.
No. But I'll tell you what, someone else has pointed this out, and I see what they're talking about. I've been by it because I go to Henderson quite a bit. They call it Whiskey Ridge.
And Whiskey Ridge and Twin Rivers.
And I know the people bought the land because the logging company, after they logged it, hey, let's get rid of it, and it was subdivided. And they bought it cheap because no one wants property like that. I do know, now I haven't walked and seen it myself, but I'm just telling you what some people have told me, where they've got their hoses out, their sewer hoses, where it's just in the yard and it's flowing. And that's more of a it's something that the state implemented years ago. I mean, when I was a kid, I'm 40 something years old. That you can't have your drainage, your black water and your gray water running into the creeks. It has to go in the septic tank. And I know there's a lot of people who are got campers that can't afford a septic tank. I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know how you can enforce it other than some. I really don't know. You know, when you build a house, when you want water, you have to call the state, and the state comes out there and shows you where your septic tank is, how long your lines are, and everything else. But when you're moving in a camper, they consider that as you're holding the fluid in your camper, so they'll pass the permit to let you have water. They won't make you have a septic tank. So there's a line there.
You know, I see what you're saying now. I will say, when all this stuff was coming out, I don't know, probably a couple of years ago when it really got hot and heavy, I actually reached out to TDEC about it because I was having complaints about same thing, dumping sewer right on the ground, or using the bathroom right on the ground. And you know, I kept asking, send me information, show me something, give me pictures, give me an example of it, and then I'll be more than happy to contact TDEC. And I'd already laid the groundwork out with them that, hey, if I get this information, I'll send you out there, but I'm not going to send you on a wild goose chase. What TDEC shared with me was, and this is allowed by Tennessee state law, is you can have it's like a sewer pit.
Yes.
It's still, you know, and it's still eventually, you know, it's going to leach into the ground. I mean,
yes.
But, you know, it's.
But look at it this way. I mean, I ain't gonna tell you how I'm related to this person, but they live on Brazil Bottom Road. And before all this happened, I don't know how many people, and still do, they go down that road and dump their garbage and whatever else they don't want because they don't want to take it to the dump. And I understand because someone thought it was wise to let's make a profit at the dump. But they throw their garbage off at that bottom. That bottom flows into the Beach River. Beach River flows into the Tennessee River. So we got to swim in it. So, I mean, if you're going to, that hasn't been enforced as long as I've known. So that's 26, 27 years. And how do you think they're going to enforce that if they can't enforce people throwing garbage? I mean, I have gotten receipts out of garbage before and taken it up to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department's like, ain't nothing I can do about it. So how they going to enforce the septic tank problem if you can't enforce people that's dumping on the side of the road?
You said the key word there is enforcement, and that's where the problem here is. The Tennessee law allows for enforcement, but nobody wants to do the enforcing.
Well,
and that's where the problem lies in all of this here.
Well, that goes back to votes. Votes.
That's it.
If people get pissed off at me, I don't care. There's a whole bunch of people that won't enforce the laws around here because they're afraid if they enforce the laws, those particular family won't vote for them anymore, and they're too worried about being in office and getting a check than enforcing the laws. Get mad at me, I don't care.
You know what? I ain't gonna argue with you whatsoever there. I know you've got you've got to get home.
I didn't get you mad, did I?
Oh no! Heck, I'm enjoying this, man. Me and you can sit up here for a couple hours.
Well, I can beat that dead horse all day long.
Oh, we could get that way up in the weeds on this one.
Well, some of the people that know me and know how I am, and they're saying, Mark, you're not gonna make any friends. And they're going to get mad at you. I got people mad at me all the time.
You know what? We're in the same boat. I get it quite a bit. But I'm going to let you make your sales pitch to the people. Tell them why they should vote for you. And
well, I'll tell you. I know he punched on it before that I run independent last time, and I know some of the people that I've told this to said, Mark, don't say it. I don't care. I run independent because I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican. If you want a Republican, vote for somebody else. If you're a conservative, vote for me. I don't believe in the government telling you what to do. I believe smaller government. Smaller government means they're spending less. And when they're spending less, they get less of your taxes. That's what I believe. And that's why I run independent last time. And so, some people have told me that, Mark, you're going to have to run a Republican this time. I'm a conservative, not a Republican. I know they're like, oh, that's the same thing. No, it's not. And I tell you, the Republican Party has got more and more liberal over the last decade. So, vote what you want to vote, vote how you want to vote. But that's the way I am. Thank you.
All righty. Well, there you have it. That's Mark James running for commissioner in District 1. I tell you what, sit tight, guys. We're gonna log off here. We've got some information that's come across today. Well, we've had a million things come across today, but we've got one bit of information that's been on the news here lately, and we're going to take and bring it out. I'm going to have Blake coming on with me, Blake Mitchell. I know you guys have probably been hearing about the bona fides with the Republican Party and all that there. So we're going to share some information on that there. We're probably going to take about 15, 20 minutes because I think me and Blake can probably set up in a little more comfortable area. But yeah, just sit tight. We'll probably have another podcast here, probably around about 7:15, between 7:15 and 7:30. So pay attention. We'll be coming back here shortly. Thank you guys, and thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys here shortly.